Si comes tienes que lavar tu plato, Firulais. Anda, enjuágalo bien. No me gruñas. A ver, con la esponja eso. Y enjuaga bien que luego deja todo jabonoso. Eso así, muy bien, aunque de malas.
Welcome to the motherfucking lady. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Chantel Cameron says, I hope Michaela Mayer becomes undisputed champion and I take the belts off of her. Chantel Cameron will fight Michaela Koliskova.
Different Michaela.
For the WBO Junior Welterweight title over 10 3-minute rounds on Sunday, April 5th, live on Sky Sports, Cameron believes a showdown with the American star, Michaela Mayer, has all the ingredients to be a Fight of the Year candidate. I agree with her. She's aiming to set up bouts with the world's best welterweights, Michaela Mayer and Lauren Price, meaning even if she wins the Koliskova fight and becomes a champion at another weight, she's not going to stay there. Cameron, former undisputed world champion at super lightweight, has moved out of that weight class, and on Sunday, April 5th, live on Sky Sports, she will fight Michaela Koliskova for the WBO junior middleweight title over 10 3-minute rounds. Cameron expects Mayer and Price to fight for the undisputed crown at welter, and she then wants to box the winner. One of them is going to become undisputed, and I'm going to be on their tail as well because I want to be in those big fights, big nights, and challenge myself, Cameron told Sky Sports. I will take those kind of fights and make my own history and my own legacy. Cameron has beaten and then was beaten by Irish superstar Katie Taylor. She didn't hesitate to call for a third fight to decide their series, but that has not materialized. Said in my previous video, with Michaela Mayer migrating over to MVP where Chantel Cameron currently is, that puts pressure on Chantel to fight in a big fight because it can't all be about Katie Taylor. Unsupported location, world champion Michaela Mayer outpointed Sandy Ryan to retain her WBO welterweight title. The door is closed on my trilogy now back at 140. It's time to move on, and I feel like they're girls, Mayer and Price, I'm looking at great fighters. All respect for them, Cameron said. I hope they get to fight each other. I'm a massive fan of Mayer. I really am. Even though I'd like to fight her, she knows I want to fight her. It's respectful. I'm a massive fan of Mayer. I think she's been quite hard done by. I do think that she beat Natasha Jonas in Liverpool. I think she was really unlucky against Alicia Baumgartner. I think she's been really hard done by, and I'm a big supporter of her, even though if she does become undisputed, I want to take the belts off of her. I hope she becomes undisputed.
Well, that's what you want to hear.
And I hope to take the belts after, but there's no guarantee Mayer would be able to beat brilliant Olympic gold medalist and 3-belt champion Price. Lauren's very good. Lauren's a hard night for everyone. Her style, she's very good. She won an Olympic gold medal, so credit to her. I think it'll be a 50-50 fight, I really do. I'd love to fight Lauren if Lauren becomes undisputed. I would love to face her, Cameron said. Chantel's not wrong. It's not a foregone conclusion that Michaela actually beats Lauren Price. I would say the Cameron fight for Michaela is more winnable than the fight with Lauren because of Lauren's amateur pedigree, because of her foot speed, her hand speed, her developing power.
Chantel's right. It's not a foregone conclusion that Michaela wins. Currently, Lauren Price has a fight coming up against her mandatory challenger, unbeaten Stephanie Pinedo. Meanwhile, Chantel will be debuting at a new weight, fighting for the vacant WBO title that Michaela Mayer left behind when she decided to move back down. Chantel, she does have a preference. She would prefer to fight Michaela instead of Lauren. She said, I do think me and Mayer would make a better fight. I feel like me and Mayer's styles gel. Me and Mayer really gel, and I feel like we'd be the fight of the year. I think Mayer will fight 3-minute rounds as well. I'd fight Mayer with no belts, I think. I think for women's boxing, we'd put on a good fight. That's why boxing Mayer appeals to Cameron a bit more than fighting Price, whatever happens in their next fights. Michaela Mayer is a more established name in the women's game than Lauren Price. Even though Lauren does have 3 alphabet titles and a gold medal, Michaela does have the bigger name of the two. And stylistically, Michaela, at least in Chantel's mind, she won't run.
You see how aggressive she was in the Natasha Jonas fight, the 2 Sandy Ryan fights, the fight that she just had with Mary Spencer fencer, stepping into her punches, taking it to the other fighter. Chantel is relying on that to make it a brawl. Whereas with Lauren's gonna stick and move and stay on the outside, pot shot, use her speed, use her feet.
She's not gonna brawl.
It's gonna present the more frustrating style to Chantel. I think Chantel knows that, and that's why she'd prefer to fight Michaela. But for that to happen, Michaela's gotta beat Lauren.
How does she do that?
The old saying goes, box the fighter and fight the boxer. If Lauren Price is more of a boxer, then Michaela has to make it more of a fight. Put her under pressure, force her to work when she doesn't want to, put punches together, be aggressive. It's risky, but it's the best bet.
Stand a better chance of winning that kind of fight than sitting there having a chess match with Lauren. That tempo would favor Lauren, her hand speed and her foot speed. Michaela's got to take it to her, and that's if the fight between them even happens.
So we'll see what does. Elsewhere in the world of boxing, Canelo Alvarez is being offered an immediate title shot by newly crowned world champion Christian Mbilli that says, "I'll show him I'm better." Saul Canelo Alvarez is gearing up for fight number 69. After suffering just the third defeat of his pro boxing career last year, the Mexican icon was relieved of his undisputed super middleweight world championship by Terence Crawford, his first loss at 168, and third overall after coming up short against Floyd Mayweather in 2013 and Dimitri Bivol in 2022. With Crawford's retirement taking a rematch off the table for Canelo, he's announced his return on a September card in Saudi, a fight that boxing power broker Turki El Al-Sheikh says will come with a world title.
It coming with a world title narrows the field of options, as there are only so many fighters right now holding a title and only so many in contention.
In an interview with Bouts Talking Bouts, Christian Mbilli, who was elevated from interim to full champion when Crawford was stripped of the belt, made it clear he wants to be the man in the opposing corner.
Christian Mbilli would present a style for Canelo that, at least historically, he's done well against. Aggressive pressure fighters that want to try to mow him down, stand in front of him, and let punches go, affording Canelo the chance to counter. The thing is, this is a much older, more war-torn Canelo Alvarez than we've seen in previous years. The subject was broached a few weeks ago by the boys over there at ProBox, and Paulie Malignaggi, he said he doesn't even like Canelo's chances in that fight.
Been very adamant about this, that Canelo Alvarez is not going to fight a victorious Lester Martinez unless he absolutely has to. Stylistically, it's not good for him. His age, he doesn't like the pace, doesn't like the power. What's your thought on a potential showdown there? Are you sticking to that?
Number one, he would fight him if it's a getting up off the canvas win or something like that, where he looks susceptible against Salim. He would. Okay. Number two, I don't know if the fight happens anyway, because I'm not sure Canelo beats Mbilli. Or Mbili's pace is I think, is going to bother Canelo a lot. Now, Champ makes a good point yesterday when he said the power of Canelo may offset that pace, but I'm not sure. And Mbili's a pretty stubborn guy, and Lester has a good amount of power, and he wasn't able to dissuade the pace of Mbilli. So I'm not convinced Canelo even gets through Mbilli, unless it's a robbery, of course, which then, who knows? You make a rematch, then you really lose the plot in general.
It is a valid point that Paulie Malignaggi is raising. Christian Mbilli has showed a chin, showed durability. He's a stubborn customer to where if you pop him hard, he doesn't just go away. And Canelo Alvarez's work rate diminishing over time, not really throwing that many punches in a round, even if they are hard.
And the night of, he will be coming off of a year layoff.
And a loss. There is cause for concern. Christian Mbilli himself, he's adamant that he wants that fight, that opportunity, saying, "For me, my goal right now is to fight Canelo because I was the longtime number one WBC challenger, number one on the WBC for Canelo. Now I have to show that I am the number one in the division." Mbilli fought on the Canelo versus Crawford undercard, drawing with Crawford's stablemate Lester the Molester Martinez to retain his belt. The Cameroonian-born Frenchman said in the same interview that he intends to rematch Martinez down the line. The fight with Alvarez has little to no obstacles and plenty of weight behind it. Turki El Al-Sheikh, Canelo's good standing with the World Boxing Council and his number one ranking, and it being undoubtedly the most lucrative option for Mbilli. If the Mexican wants to test himself, the opportunity is there.
Immediately following Christian's fight with Lester the Molester, the World Boxing Council ordered a fight between them, a rematch, which needless to say, didn't happen.
Lester will now be fighting Emmanuel Alim for a WBC interim title on Pro Box, leaving Christian Mbilli's schedule free to take on Canelo. Not that you have to twist his arm to do it, because you don't.
The supposed theme for Canelo Alvarez's ring return in September is Mexico versus the world.
Brought to us by Turki El Al Sheikh, who is insistent that Canelo Alvarez's next fight could be for an alphabet title, which definitely puts Christian in the mix. It also puts Armando Resendiz in the mix. He's WBA champion. Of course, if Armando got the fight, that would be more Mexico versus Mexico, not Mexico versus the world.
And it is Christian Mbilli who is rumored to be landing that opportunity. Boxer puncher versus pressure fighter. That's the stylistic matchup.
That kind of matchup makes for a good TV fight, as the pressure fighter is going to apply pressure, and it all boils down to how the boxer puncher is going to respond. Normally, boxer punchers have the drop on pressure fighters.
They usually win those fights, but Canelo, having been around as long as he has, coming up on what is his 69th professional boxing match, at what point does father time, wear and tear become an issue?
Also, as you said, it may be the best time to catch Canelo as well. Mbilli's too one-dimensional, in my opinion, to have messed with Canelo or given Canelo a tough fight in Canelo's prime. But this Canelo, as opposed to a super hungry Lester Martinez, an ascending Lester Martinez, it could be a Canelo who's descending. It could be a Canelo who, yeah, he wants to hang around, but he's may not be as hungry anymore. He may not be as willing to, be in the line of fire all the time. And there's many reasons for Mbilli to go this route. From the fighter's perspective, you hit it on the head, in my opinion, Roberto. This is why Mbilli would rather take Canelo if the WBC allows it, which obviously the WBC has allowed it. But where does Lester go? Because I don't see Lester getting Canelo if Canelo wins. And Mbilli, honestly, to tell you the truth, I don't know if Mbilli wants to see him right away either. He's, again, that rematch is there for a while. It will remain hot.
Paulie Malignaggi. Not historically Canelo Alvarez's biggest fan, but the points that he raises still ring true. Canelo's getting long in the tooth, coming off a loss and a year layoff against a very persistent, aggressive fighter. Even if normally he does well with that style, how does he do under these circumstances?
His work rate has definitely diminished over time. The counters, while still fast, they don't come in as fast, as quick as they used to. Canelo doesn't really try to send a message.
No, he doesn't really try to make statements anymore, and one can hardly expect him to. 68 fights into his professional boxing career, but this is not the kind of fight that you can take on half-hearted. If at any point in the fight you're asleep at the wheel, on cruise control, Christian Mbilli is going to take over. I saw Canelo Alvarez say a few weeks back that he's got no plans of retiring, and I saw Turki El Al Sheikh say that he would like for Canelo Alvarez to finish out his career fighting for him.
But just imagine if he goes in there with Christian and he loses.
Losing to the kind of guy you would have normally beat in your prime, losing to his style you can normally handle. I mean, what bigger red flag would there be that Canelo Alvarez needs to hang them up?
Canelo fans don't like me. There's a lot of reasons.
I got a list right here. It's
but one of the main reasons is because I've yet to be wrong about the guy. Everything I've said through the years, I've been right every single time. I said years ago he was gonna duck Benavidez the whole time, and they were like, "No, he's gonna fight him." He just did. No, he's gonna. Yeah. I said I said he couldn't beat Bivol. My prediction was actually he was gonna rob him, and of course he got. I predicted Crawford to beat him. Crawford handled him rather easily. I'm for your sake. The Triple C's, for their sake, I want to be wrong just so they could say, finally we told you so. I kind of want to be wrong for once, because I got this guy pinned so well.
Right.
I got him pinned so well and I'm right constantly about him. And it drives his fans nuts because they still hate to admit it, even though I've been right every single time and they've been wrong every single time. I kind of want to be wrong. I kind of want the banter. Like, Paulie, you were wrong. Guys, I'm trying to get on your side. I want to be wrong.
The issue is
I'm never wrong.
An issue about you
terrible.
being right. Your best prediction of all, the very best prediction, I'm tipping my hat to you for this one, was the Benavidez, that he's never going to fight Benavidez. You tried that.
It was so obvious.
But wait. But The problem isn't because you're right about the prediction. Because all those other predictions, I was right too. I picked Bivol actually to beat him. I didn't think he was going to rob him. I picked Crawford.
You know what? You had more faith in the politics of boxing. I didn't. I was still scarred from the Golovkin fight.
Yes. the issue with you is you tend to overlook some of the really good things that he's done. He had that run.
Obviously not, because I've been right every time.
No, you just don't give him any credit for that great run they had where he actually looked really damn good.
He did. He had the run just so he could duck everybody after that.
But he fought so many tough.
Paulie's axe to grind with Canelo Alvarez seems to stem from the gift draw that he got in the first Golovkin fight, and I will acquiesce that I scored that fight for Gennady as well. I had it about 8-4.
Canelo was very lucky to get a draw in that fight. To a lot of people, what he really got was a gift. But is that saying that because Canelo got a gift in that fight, that he's not a great fighter, when some people would tell you that Floyd Mayweather got a gift in the first Castillo fight? And that gift, or at least that perception, never stopped Paulie from liking Floyd. So why is he so hard on Canelo?
Years back, some people would tell you that Julio Cesar Chavez got a gift over Pernell Whitaker, but that didn't stop a lot of people from regarding him as Mexico's greatest champion. Paulie Malignaggi accurately predicting that Dimitri Bivol and Terence Crawford would both beat Canelo Alvarez does not disqualify Canelo from greatness, given all that he did manage to accomplish, because by that reckoning, I guess that Muhammad Ali isn't great because he lost to Joe Frazier and Trevor Berbick and Larry Holmes. Having a few losses on his CV would bar him from greatness.
Paulie accurately predicting that Dimitri Bivol and Terence Crawford would beat Canelo Alvarez does not bar him from being a great fighter based on everything Canelo did manage to accomplish. That if you take those names on Canelo's resume that people like Paulie Malignaggi so easily overlook and transplant them to some other fighter's resume, the reaction's going to be completely different if there was a guy who fought unbeaten Callum Smith, unbeaten Caleb Plant, unbeaten Billy Joe Saunders.
How do I know?
Because these are the same people criticizing Canelo that are high on other fighters for having accomplished less and having fought lesser competition.
That's how I know that if you had another guy out there like a Lester Martinez, and he fought Jaime Munguia, and he fought Edgar Berlanga, and all those unbeaten champions that Canelo fought, I can almost guarantee you the reaction would be completely different. But because it's Canelo, all I want to talk about is what he didn't do, who he didn't fight, or what fights that he lost. It's a brazen double standard, and that's why I can't agree with Paulie's evaluation of Canelo. Even if you accurately picked some of those fights, that doesn't mean he's not a great fighter, and that doesn't mean that you've got him pegged. You just don't like him. And how I know you don't like him is you seem to castigate him for being somewhat of a prima donna. Somewhat.
You didn't castigate Floyd Mayweather for being a prima donna. If anything, you were a fan of him.
You castigate Canelo Alvarez constantly for having not fought David Benavidez, but you didn't castigate Floyd Mayweather for having not fought Keith Thurman when it's tantamount to the same argument. Keith was in the queue like David was in the queue, and Floyd didn't fight him. You didn't hold that against him, but you hold it against Canelo.
Message!
The message is, even if Canelo lost to Floyd, and he lost to Dimitri, and he lost to Terence, those were not run-of-the-mill fighters by any stretch. That was the creme de la creme. And when you're competing at the highest levels, yeah, losses are going to happen.
More often than not, very few fighters are going to leave this sport with an unbeaten record.
Losing to those fighters does not mean Canelo's not a great fighter.